Wherever you are.
Councilor Viola, before you start.
Good evening, I'm Councilor Viola, I'm the Chair of the Finance Committee. With me on the committee is Councilor Campbell, who's absent, Councilor Demers, Councilor Ferrulo, and Councilor Mercer Bruin, who's also absent.
Make a motion we dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's minutes and approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the order approving and authorizing the mayor to enter into a payment in lieu of property taxes agreement with Onyx Development Group LLC at 120 Commerce Way. Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee and the council. We are before you tonight seeking the authority for me to enter into this pilot agreement with Onyx Development. I've asked the chief appraiser from the Assessor's Department, John Conley, and the city auditor, Charlie Doherty, to join me tonight to explain what this is about and answer any questions you might have. So with that, Mr. Conley.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Evening, John.
So you all have a copy of the actual agreement you may be familiar with. It pretty much follows the other solar pilot agreements that we've had within the city. There's only one two things just to be aware of. So Massachusetts law regarding the solar pilots has changed over the years, and it's continuing to evolve with the current Empowerment Act regarding solar. So under the old regulations, we included the solar pilots as part of our tax levy. And then there was a law change that happened with the state changing the rules that they no longer were becoming a part of the levy, but they became part of the receipts, which then instead of being part of the levy, they were transferred onto page 3 of the recap as far as on where those funds would be allocated. And if there's any questions regarding how that regulation goes. So we actually have two different sets of billing requirements that we're dealing with right now. One under the old law that we're bound to by the solar pilots, and one under the current legislation, which goes on page 3 of the recap, which is under the review with Charlie and Tim as far as on billing for those. So that being said, that just be aware of that. As far as there's different regulations, there's another pending regulation going on now. Regarding the solar pilot, like I said, it's very familiar. Back when the state was asking communities to become more green, the city stepped up, and as far as regarding solar pilots, we actually established a solar pilot guideline. The reason for that is that way for solar developers coming into the city, because there's many different variables with that they actually had a set of guidelines to follow, so that we're doing taxation. There's not only uniformity there, but conformity for all the parties intended. So based on that, in our solar guidelines, we established a price per megawatt of power. So that's $13,500 per megawatt of power that these facilities generate. So if you look at the actual solar pilot agreement that you have before you, that actually is, let me just put on my glasses here, 0.26715 megawatts DC power. And the actual initial pilot is $3,606.53 based on that megawatt that we established for valuation within the city. Now, that increases every year by 2.5%, and it's a 20-year agreement. And the reason why it's a 20-year agreement is typically these units start to deteriorate after 20 years. The inverters that actually these utilize around 15 years, it may have gotten more current now, but those inverters that actually on the rooftops convert the DC power to AC power, which we use in our homes, those tend to need to be replaced. So Usually, when they look at the economic feasibility of these, they're based on 20 years, and that's the typical standard agreement that we've seen in the industry. So it's pretty straightforward. It follows the same guidelines that we've had on the other solar pilots. And this one is actually at 120 Commerce Way, which is a mixed-use development with the new residential apartments and first-floor retail space. So that being said, you have the agreement in front of you. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any committee members have any questions?
Make a motion the order is sent out to pass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, John.
Yep, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll call the Committee on Public Safety and Licensing to order. Councilor Frulo, I'm the chairman. With me on the committee is Councilor Papalato, Councilor Demers, Councilor Toro, who is not here, and Councilor Campbell, who's not here.
Make a motion we dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's minutes and approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Two items on the agenda today. The first is for People Fit LLC, 237 Lexington Street. A request for a waiver a permit to run a road race with a waiver on umbrella liability insurance. This is the second year they've done this event. Last year went with no problems. All paperwork and documentation's in
Make a
order.
motion that the request for the waiver be sent out to pass.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The second item on the agenda is a request for a second-class motor vehicle sales license name change from Alex Auto Brokers to Alex Auto Brokers, Inc. at 505 Main Street. All paperwork is in order.
Make a motion that the request be sent out to pass.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good, Gordon? I'm all set, whatever you... All right. I'd like to call the Committee on Ordinance, Charter, and Rules to order. On the committee are myself, Chairman Demers, Councilor Toro, Councilor Mercer Bruin, Councilor Frulo, and Councilor DeMambro. Councilors Toro, Mercer, Bruin are absent this evening. First item on the agenda is a reading and approval of previous meetings minutes. Is there a motion to dispense with that?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the CB Silva LLC proposed zoning amendment to section 7.3 and 7.4 of the Woburn zoning ordinances to give the special permit granting authority for single-family and two-family dwellings subject to abandonment and not used for a period of 2 years to the city council. Attorney Tarby, you have the floor.
Yes, good evening. I'd like to submit for the record, I promise Gordon, only one time will you be up tonight.
It's okay.
You're all set, Alex. Thank you.
Okay, what I'm submitting are copies of sections of the zoning bylaws that were referenced in the city solicitors.
Joe, if you could hold off
Okay, yep.
until Gordon's back at the desk.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what you have before you are copies of the sections of the Medford, Haverhill, and Sharon, Mass zoning bylaws or ordinances that were referenced in the city solicitor's legal opinion. So just to refresh your memory, the proposed ordinance before you would amend section 7.3 of the zoning ordinance by adding the following language, including a single-family or two-family dwelling subject to section 7.4 below, the special permit granting authority shall be the city council. And then under 7.4, which is entitled abandonment and non-use, after the language that's already in the zoning ordinance that says no non-conforming use or structure shall be reinstated once it's abandoned or once it is not used for a period of 2 years. We propose that the following language be added. However, a non-conforming and abandoned use or structure used as a single-family dwelling or a two-family dwelling located in an R1, R2, R3, R4, or S1 zoning district, which are all the residential zoning districts in the city, may be reinstated by a city council, special permit granted by the city council. If the non-conforming and abandoned use requires a variance, said variance must be obtained from the Board of Appeals prior to the filing of a special permit petition with the city council. So the ordinance the changes before you, just to summarize, council acts as the special permit granting authority for any abandoned, non-conforming residential structure, not commercial, residential, subject to 7.4. Board of Appeals retains jurisdiction for variances, and then Section 4 is amended to allow for the reinstatement of single or two-family structures by special permit in those zoning districts that I outlined. So it only applies to residential one or two-family homes in our residential districts. So when you look at the ordinances that I submitted to you and city solicitor referenced, each and every one of those in those communities allow for any non-conforming structure or use to come back before the city council for a special permit. So if it's a commercial use in a residential district, they can approach, and it's been abandoned, they can approach their city council. This one here only applies to residential districts. So in the city solicitor's opinion, I'm just going to highlight a couple of things, because he was asked, if this would be in conflict with Massachusetts law. He said, "It's my opinion that while the city cannot override the statute, meaning get rid of the 2-year rule, it may regulate in the manner proposed, as I've proposed here, to allow for reinstatement of the conforming use via the special permit process. Further, other municipalities, including Medford, Haverhill, and Sharon, have adopted similar provisions. Haverhill in particular is quite similar to the proposal, stating that, quote, provided, however, that such use or structure may be restored to its protected status by special permit from the city council," unquote. And the city solicitor concludes by saying, in conjunction with Building Commissioner Quinn, we do not foresee ways in which the proposed change can be abused in direct conflict with the purposes of the zoning ordinance. This provision will be limited to 1- and 2-family homes in residential zones, and will have review by the council as well as the building commissioner. And research shows us that there are very, very few instances of this type in the city. So that's where we are since from the last meeting when the committee requested something from the city solicitor. He's issued his opinion, he's consulted with the building commissioner, and neither one of them see any way in which this ordinance can be manipulated to allow something else. I don't mean to be repetitive, but it's just for single and 2-family homes in the R1, R2, R3, R4, and S1 zoning districts.
Before opening it up to questions, I'd be willing to entertain a motion to make the letter from City Solicitor Salvati part of the permanent record.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any questions from members of the committee?
Not so much a question. Chair Demers, Attorney Salvati, Attorney Tobby, I've read through this numerous times, and I'm all for this. I support this because I think in today's market, today's economy, today's real estate market, it's, houses and homes are in demand. And it breaks my heart to see houses, especially in Woburn, in our city, that have been abandoned or neglected or just, led to be run down to decay, and they become a nuisance, and it does become a burden to the city as well as, the detriment to the neighborhoods. And I like to see those structures, refurbished, rebuilt, and brought back to life. And if they can't be brought back to life, then have them raised and then build a new structure in place of it as a 1 or a 2 that's already existing. So I am in favor of this. And again, it's to keep, the beautification in our city, our real estate market, tight without having these abandoned and decaying structures. So I am for this. So I appreciate you bringing this forward, and I will be in support of this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? What's the will of the committee?
Make a motion, to send this out to pass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to
Ayes have
adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Okay, thank you.